Hello, come and take a seat. Come and get involved in this. What's your name? We got Rowan, we got Betul. My name's Mikey. What's your name?
My name's Dorian.
And
Eileen.
Eileen. Welcome. Come and have a seat. We're just warming up. So we haven't actually got any subjects yet. We talked a little bit about this giant superbug, if that's what it is. We're not really sure. And the lab rats people over there. But we don't really have a subject. So maybe you've come at a perfect time. Have you got a subject, Eileen, Dorian? What are you interested in?
Well, I'm mostly here for the technology.
Yeah.
So all the.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in the AI stuff.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited
What's
to see
AI?
it. It's artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm really excited too because there's one show where they're gonna explain how a self-driving car works.
Right. Okay.
Which I'm really interested in too.
Okay. A self-driving car. Are you looking forward to getting your own self-driving car in the future? Or would you rather drive it yourself?
I'd rather make one than.
Okay.
To invent it.
Okay.
Dorian wants to invent the car that's going to drive
Okay.
itself, or the system that's going to run the cars.
Okay. All right. Any response to that? Self-driving cars and anything about self-driving cars?
Yeah, I want self-driving cars as well. Please hurry up and build them.
Really?
I'm fed up of people driving on the road. We can't be trusted. Robots are better.
Are you a biker? Do you ride a bicycle?
Not currently, but I'm definitely like with the cyclists. So that's my other reason for wanting
I was
self-driving
cycling home from Excel Centre last night, and a man pulled out from me and nearly hit me, and he was like, he winds down his window and says, "Why didn't you stop?" And then we had a long conversation. Will you be able to have those conversations with self-driving cars?
Probably not.
No?
I don't think the self-driving car would nearly hit you.
Yeah, you think it would? How would it avoid that sort of situation?
Well, it would have
Sensors.
Yeah?
sensors. And
Sensors.
Yeah, I mean, the man was complaining about his blind spot. Will self-driving cars have a blind spot? Do they need one?
They better not have a blind spot. Sorry. Yeah. Not safe. if
yeah.
they had one.
What's that?
That's a good question, actually. I was just thinking how they can have a blind spot.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
To be fair, I think they will have blind spots, but I think there'll be different kinds of blind spots. So, like, we can't see behind us. A self-driving car can see in 360, but maybe it's those one or two occasions where there's something a little bit above or a little bit below, or there'll be iterations of this technology perfecting over time. So maybe it will start off with some blind spots in places we just don't think we'll need them.
Has a self-driving car ever made like a perceptual error?
Yeah, there was a famous case quite recently. I think it was a Tesla car crashed into a white van because it couldn't contrast the white van against a white sky behind it, or something along those lines.
So
I don't know
it kind of
specifics.
didn't see the white van
Yeah,
because it was...
and in fairness, like a human wouldn't have either, but the fact is the car didn't pick it up.
Okay, so they're not perfect yet. Do you know about this story about the...
I have heard about this, yes. I'd say that this is something that can be changed in the future.
Yeah? How?
Well, first of all, using motion sensors as well as other sensors. So
Yeah.
you don't have one system. You have
Yeah.
like 5 systems working together.
Okay, so you don't just use vision, you use other ways of sensing the environment. Who would you trust more, a human or a computer?
Once the technology is mature, I would trust the computer more.
Yeah?
I think we humans make a lot of mistakes.
Okay, so...
But it would take a while because right now it's still in its infancy.
Okay, I'm going to go around the table on this one. Who would you trust more, human or computer?
Depends on the circumstance. I mean, trust in what regard?
We've got a new face to the table. We've got Eileen, we've got Dorian, we've got Betul and Rowan. What's your name?
Peter.
Peter and Mikey. At the moment, we're just warming this up. This is Talkaoke. Give us a final thought, something to throw into the mix.
One day I might send my kids alone in a self-driving car if
Okay.
it's good enough.
Okay, so you trust them more than a minicab driver, maybe.
Or a bus driver.
Okay, yeah.
I am not sure. I think that it'll probably eventually be possible, but maybe not just yet.
Okay, not just yet. We're talking about self-driving cars there. Well, I mean, they're the self-driving cars people. Have you got a point to make? This is Rick, our cameraman.
I was reading an article about the
Yeah.
computers making moral choices when they're driving.
Yeah.
And in a situation where if they have to, like they probably plow into a load of people crossing the road, they're going to stop. But what happens when it's a situation where it's going to injure the person in the car?
Okay.
And like if we were driving, we would obviously try, we wouldn't, in a way,
So what
morally, we wouldn't choose to like kill ourselves over, well,
I see. So
killing the
the self-driving car would rather hit a brick wall than hit the group of pedestrians.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens then exactly? How's that?
Okay.
So talk about the programming of that. Basically.
Should the self-driving car favour the customer over innocent bystanders?
I think it's an incarnation of the famous trolley problem in moral philosophy, and I think it's...
Is that how many groceries you can get in your trolley, that problem?
Not exactly, but
No.
there might be an offshoot.
Bigger problem,
I
yeah.
mean, it's about, there's a trolley going down a track, and you can put it onto two different tracks. One has one person lying on the track, the other has 5 people. Which one do you choose, if either?
Yeah.
And so there's an implication with driving cars in that they should favour people other than the customer, because they are the innocent. Like the customer chose to buy the car or take the ride or whatever, and has had some kind of agency in the action, whereas the innocent bystanders are just that, just bystanders.
Even if they're hanging about on the road?
Well,
And the thing is, we humans make these decisions all the time, and we do it in a split second. If you program it into a computer, then you can think about it beforehand, but it doesn't make it any better.
Okay, well, this is Talkaoke. At the moment, we're talking about would you trust a computer or a human being more? Self-driving cars, will they be able to make the right moral decisions? Is the right moral decision not to make the journey in the first place? Come and get involved in this. We have got Betul, we've got Peter, we've got Rowan, we've got Rick on camera. Oh, we haven't got Betul. Come and get involved.
Peter's going as well now.
Okay, give us a final thought before you go.
Have a nice day.
Okay, well, if you see anything interesting, come back and report. We will be a bit more busy later on, I hope.
Was that too much of a moral choice?
Too much of a moral choice. Do we actually stay and help out the man clearly in serious trouble, or do I go and look at all the interesting exhibits? Is the damage to me, the reputational damage of sitting on this table, greater, or is the credibility of helping to get this amazing talk show on the road more important? That is the question. And more, I mean, how will the computer answer the question? Or will they be that self-conscious? Because we've talked about computer consciousness, but we haven't talked about computer self-consciousness, have we?
I guess because it's a bit of a leap at the moment. Like we can't really imagine our digital computers genuinely being conscious. You can imagine them trying to make moral decisions, but they'll still be performing like reductionist assumptions and calculations and things, and only seemingly making moral decisions. I can imagine like some future more slightly GUI technology that isn't so binary, perhaps being a bit more.
So you think that the moral decisions will always be the moral decisions of the programmer, not the moral decisions of the artificial intelligence?
Well, I think morals might not even come into it. I think it might be a system that approximates morals and looks like morals from the outside, but really is just a computer going, this value is higher than this value, therefore I take this course of action.
Come and have a seat on the table of chat. Who do you trust more, humans or computers? Can computers make moral decisions? We've got Rowan, we've got Rick. What's your name?
Elise.
Elise, welcome. This is Talkaoke. It's a free-form pop-up talk show. We don't have to talk about this.
Have you appeared in science museums?
Yes. Yes. Are you a science museum
I used
goer?
to be I used to work in science museum.
Oh, really?
You've trained us. Actually,
Okay. Do you want to have a go in the middle? You can have a go in the middle if you want.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a contemporary science intern.
Okay. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. You don't need to have any knowledge of science to sit on this table, but if you do, that is always useful. The purpose of this is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up free-form talk show. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Right now, we're talking about computers and moral decisions, self-driving cars. But we can talk about anything. Come sit down. Try it out. You'll be amazed. We've got Elise, we've got Rowan, we've got Rick. My name's Mikey. What's your name?
Richard.
Richard, come and have a seat for a second. What are you here for? What's
general interest, really.
General interest? Okay. Do you want to stick with this self-driving car conversation? Do you want to move it on to something else?
I'm more interested in, I think, the biological side of things.
Okay.
I was trying to find my way around. There's a section there.
When you say the biological side, what particular field of study, interests?
I was looking at brain and body, this area around.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly in the brain and body area. They've got the brain and body theatre over there that's going to kick off soon. And we've all got brains and bodies around here. But I guess artificial intelligence won't necessarily have brains and bodies. Come and have a seat. Who do you trust more, the computer or the human being? Can computers make moral decisions? Will they ever be able to? We have got Richard, Rowan, Elise, what's your name?
Meg.
And
Ella.
and
Paris.
and
Rick.
so at the moment we are talking about, I guess, this hypothetical situation. In the future, cars will drive themselves. But will they make the right decisions on the roads? Will they have like a robot finger that sticks up when somebody cuts them up, for example? Will they behave like human beings? What Rowan's saying, have you got a final thought or initial thought? Okay, what Rowan's saying is basically that computers can't make moral decisions. They can't decide, what about if the car's going towards a group of people, will it decide to veer into a brick wall and kill the driver instead?
I think it's all about train the computer, train the AI sufficiently. And there's a saying that some company, I think it's Microsoft, released an AI robot to chatting with others.
Yeah.
And they're like a large influx of people that swear to this AI robots.
Yeah.
And the AI robots start to learn how to swear.
Okay.
And
so they
it
learn all the
becomes-
bad habits from human beings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What do you think? Are we going to be living in a world with swearing robots in the future that are just going to be cussing all the time because they've learnt it from humans, and the humans are going to go, ha ha ha, going to say that again? What do people think? Can you see that happening?
I just think, would there be like a limit of where the robots can go? Like, would you allow them to go on the motorway, or would they have to drive at a certain speed in order to react to everything around them?
Okay. Come and have a seat. Can we get involved in this? We're talking about a future world where robots drive and robots wind down the window and swear at you. We've got Rowan, what's it again?
Meg.
Elise, Ella, what's it?
Paris.
And
Darcy. Sophia.
welcome to Talkaoke. At the moment we're talking about swearing robots mostly. But I mean, are you ready for a world that's going to be not necessarily taken over? Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. Are you ready for the robot world? The robot dawn? Are you ready for the robot dawn?
No, not really.
No?
I think that'd be a bit weird.
You think is it going to be a weird future that we live in with
I think it's quite far away if any of
it's
that
quite
actually
far away.
happens,
Yeah. Okay. How many years?
Like, more than 50.
50 years. Okay. Are we 50 years away from robot cars and robots? Yep.
I came to work today via a robot, so I think it's already here.
What do you mean?
Did anyone take the DLR? It's a robot. It's a robot train.
Yeah.
It's been roboting around for 20 years or so.
So that's been running for 20 years, a self-driving train?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already got self-driving trains. It's not a big jump to self-driving cars. Do you think 40 or 50 years before we get them?
I think that's an overestimate. I reckon 5 years and you'll see them like here and there being like, oh, look, a robot car. And then another 5 years and they'll just be the norm.
So like in 10 years, it'll be self-driving cars will be the norm, says Rowan.
Maybe 50%, 10 years, yeah.
Okay, what do other people think? 10 years? Can you see that? How old are you going to be in 10 years' time?
25.
Will you have a car?
Yeah.
Will you drive it yourself, or will you just press the button, like, just say kind of, take me to McDonald's or something like that?
Well, it'd probably be quite expensive though, wouldn't it?
You think you won't be able to afford
No.
one? Okay,
No.
at the age of 25, interesting, okay. Who thinks they'll have a self-driving car in 10 years' time? Nobody. Okay, interesting.
That depends on where you live. I think in cities like London, there's no way, but maybe in the countryside.
Yeah, in the countryside, people will have them.
Yeah, the road is wider, and the situation is easier to handle.
Right.
Yeah, so it depends. Maybe in Silicon Valley, it will be really soon.
Yeah.
But there's also concerns about the rules and regulations. I think UK governments are quite difficult with that thing, the new things.
So the government doesn't like it, basically. It's all too many laws to write, too many regulations, rules and regulations, boring. So that's going to stop the robot cars. I mean, where do we want to go with this? What are you interested in robot cars? Because we only talked about this because a kid called Dorian jumped on the table and he's gone now. So we could move on to a different subject. What would you like to talk about? Would you like to talk about the robot dawn or something else? What are you here for? What are you here to do? Are you here just to get a day off school? Is that what it is about? What? Yeah.
I don't know, just to like find out about new things, really.
Okay.
See if it can help us with our GCSEs.
Are there any particular new things that you're interested in?
Yeah, basically over there's like these goggles that you can put on, and it makes you see things, and then Vertu. Yeah.
Okay, so does it make you see things that aren't there, or does it make you see things that you couldn't see with normal sight, that do exist?
That aren't there.
Okay, so virtual reality. Any interest in virtual reality? He turned away. Yeah. Okay, well, anyone else? You're all interested in the virtual reality? What are you interested in?
I don't know.
You don't know yet, just open-minded?
Same.
Same?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Not sure, yeah. Just open-minded, I suppose.
Yeah, I like the virtual reality. We haven't seen a lot though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is that going to be something that takes off more in the future? Virtual reality?
I hope so. That'd be quite fun. I've played with a little bit before, and it is great. I do worry that people are going to step out in front of cars and things when they're trying to catch a Pokemon or something.
Yeah. But, I mean, if the cars are driving themselves, maybe they'll be keyed into the network and they'll know.
Yeah. I think maybe
drive
they'll
into a brick
deliberately
wall
drive
instead.
over the Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay. Will we be living in a kind of virtual reality fantasy world in the future, where we're just not looking at where we're going, we're just looking at these weird goggles? Possibly.
Because it's like we do that with our phones, don't we?
Yeah. So we're already sort of starting to do that.
Yeah.
But when we've got the goggles on, we're going to be more immersed in it, I suppose, aren't we?
But would people do a bit too obsessive to sort of reach a reality and refuse to go outside? That's the concern, I think.
Yeah. You think people will just stay indoors?
Yeah. Instead of going on vacation, pay very expensive flights, why just stay at home?
So people will go on holiday in their... is this a virtual reality headset? We've got two... Come and have a seat. We've got... come and sit down. What's your name? Oh, can you talk?
Is this a lab?
They can't really
rat?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They can't talk. Oh, can you speak for them?
I can do,
What's going on here?
So these are lab rats, and
hello.
they will test whether or not you're smarter or dumber than a rat. That's what they're doing. So the whole idea is looking at rat senses and how sort of very highly tuned they are in some ways and not in others.
Yeah.
So for example, their whiskers are very, very highly tuned, far more than human fingertips, and they can smell amazingly low concentrations.
Yeah.
Pause for the selfie.
Yeah.
And so we can test you and figure out whether or not you're smarter or dumber than a rat in our little area.
I see.
Come check it out.
So rats
Guerrilla science, by the way.
Rats are very sensitive. That's guerrilla science just over there. Rats are very sensitive in certain ways. They can smell and they can their whiskers are very sensitive. Okay. Did you know that? No.
No.
Any?
Should I have a final word?
If you're going to go, yeah.
Yeah, I think virtual reality and self-driving cars are in a very near future. And maybe we didn't realize it until it's really coming to our
Okay,
life.
so we won't know it until it hits us just like that. And then we'll suddenly go, oh, self-driving cars everywhere.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Give us a final thought. We need something. What are going to be the big subjects today as far as you're concerned?
Advancing technology, how rapidly it's progressing.
Yeah, technology taking us over. See, I'm sort of making a bit more of a headline there.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Thank you, thanks for joining in. Come back later on if you see anything interesting. Come and have a seat, can we get involved in this?
Musical instruments.
Sorry?
Roland musical instruments.
Roland musical instruments. Well, we are actually supported by Roland speakers, but we had to pay for them. We didn't get them for free. And what's your name?
Paul.
Paul and
Rowan.
Mikey. Anything you want to talk about? Any thoughts, comments, observations, suggestions, ideas?
Well, I've got a Roland synthesizer.
Have you?
I just bought, you know.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you play on it?
I play guitar in a band.
Yeah.
And I use it because I can change instruments.
Right.
With a guitar, I can alternate between different instruments.
Right.
Know? And that's the fun of it, you know. So I can play a saxophone, a trumpet, a violin, etc.
Yeah. Any particular favourite tunes you've got?
Well, I'm doing actual fact playing at the moment, Stranger on the Shore.
Yeah.
Acapella number.
Yeah.
And it's excellent.
Okay. Have you heard this? Do you know anything about this? No. Are you got an interest in music?
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay, so you're interested in music, you're not really at all interested in music. What are you interested in?
It's probably more gadgets than anything.
Yeah? Have you got a favourite gadget?
Well, not really, no. Apart from phones.
I mean, just this question, and we were talking about AI. Do you think AI can make music in the future? Okay, you've got your synthesizer, but maybe you just, in the future, just press a button and the tune will emerge fully composed by the robot.
I think it's already happened. I mean,
Yeah.
there's entire albums of AI music out there, entire research projects about making AI composers, AI drummers.
Is any of it any good?
Yeah. I saw this band called Square Pusher not too long ago that had a set of robot drummers,
Right.
like robot instrumentists, and it was really good.
Were they sweaty or were they not really?
They were a bit oily.
Okay, they're oily.
Yeah.
Okay, because you know, a drummer, you expect the drum to be a bit sweaty and hairy.
No, it's a bit more mechanical, but yeah, it's definitely a thing that can happen. The question is, does it hold artistic merit? And that's the question that's up for a bit of more debate.
Okay. Okay, what makes a good tune? If it's made by a robot, can it be like a hit?
I mean, if you listen to the top 40, it already sounds just robotic anyway. So
really? So you think the music today, today's music, what the kids like is robotic anyway?
I just wonder if robots could actually make music that's better than the top 40. I think it's probably quite easy. Actually.
You think robots can already make music better than top 40? Okay, any thoughts on this, Roland?
Actually, I prefer the traditional way of making music with instruments rather than electronics.
Yeah.
Because I find that electronics is great, but it's not the same. It hasn't got the same feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked for electronics years ago. I'm retired now. It's like comparing valve amplifiers to transistor amps.
Yeah. What's the difference? What's the difference?
Well, in valve, when you play valve amp, it's got that sound, that oomph sound, especially for guitar, which transistors lack.
Right.
In other words, basically, when you listen to a transistor, it's too clean.
Right.
The music's too clean.
Right.
Whereas with valve, it's got that certain amount of distortion.
Yeah.
That carries it.
Right.
And you'll find that most bands now go back to valve equipment like they did in the 60s to get that sound.
A sort of feel. Okay. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. We're talking about will electronic music or robot-made music ever supersede the music made by people? What about valve amplifiers and all that?
I mean, I appreciate that because I also enjoy quite listening to sort of like older instruments and things. But I do feel it's got a touch of nostalgia about it more than any kind of objective quality. And I find this especially like the obsession with vinyl records at the moment, because every double-blind trial has people saying that digital music sounds better than vinyl records, but everyone will say, "Oh no, vinyls sound better because of that that quality. You can't quite put a word to." It's
what do you mean a double-blind trial?
Well, like if you play someone the same piece of music, one on a vinyl and one on like a really clean digital source, people will say, "Oh, the digital source sounds better."
Yeah.
But only when asked which one they'd rather have. They'd rather have the vinyl because it has just that again, like an abstract quality.
So it's not just about the sound then, it's about something else. It's about maybe the fact that you know...
Because I think because music is intrinsically nostalgic, you want to feel the way you did the first time you heard it. And so you want that kind of less clean edge to things, so that it reminds you of the first time you heard something.
There is a difference between digital and analog music, like on records. The thing with digital, you will not get noise like you do on the old scratches on the records. But the point is, when you listen to analog, the music is a sine wave.
Yeah.
Complete sine wave of music. Digital is not a sine wave. It's basically a sine wave with the tops cut off.
Right.
The signal, right? To get that digital sound, you see, so you get a digital signal.
So it's not a nice smooth wave.
No,
it's not a smooth wave.
That's the difference. You see, you lose that on CDs that you don't get in vinyl. So really, I mean, if you're, as you say, like the old music, you prefer records, but most people will use CDs and that, you know, now these days.
Okay. All right. So digital versus analog, you don't get a nice smooth. Is it the same as well with the way that robot cars drive? They just drive in a very stepped way rather than a nice smooth turn of the turning circuit.
If you've ever seen my dad drive, he drives very digitally, I assure you.
Okay. All right. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. At the moment, we're talking about robot music versus human music. Can robots ever be better at music than human beings? Roland says no. Rowan says yes. Come on, give us a couple of minutes. What do you think about this? So we got Rowan, we got Paul, we got Roland. What's your name?
Emma.
And
Dan.
My name's Mikey. So that's what we're talking about. Rowan is saying that already you've got whole albums made of music made by robots, and it's okay. It's better than what's in the top 40 right now. Can you see a time when just it's all made by robots?
Probably for someone like me, I appreciate music, but I don't play music myself.
Yeah.
I guess there's a certain amount of music that is just algorithms, isn't it? You know, as in it's
music is just algorithms in a way, anyway.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah. So, as a non-aficionado, someone who appreciates music, I think I'd probably be very happy with robots' music.
Okay.
If I was playing the instrument, I'd probably think that it's missing something.
Yeah.
The intonations.
Is
or
there
something.
a je ne sais quoi of the human feel, or is it just that's just what we say?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So for me, I probably am not knowledgeable enough about music to appreciate the difference. Someone who really understands the music, I probably think they would be able to pick up.
Okay, Ronan.
It's like going to a theatre and to listen to a live band compared to disco music.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone likes a live band because the feeling of it, you know, from the people and the sound,
right?
Which you don't get on playing records. You see.
Okay.
You know, because every band is an individual band that plays their certain way of playing a song.
Okay, so a band has got that human feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is there not an emotional element to creating music?
Yeah.
You know, if you see that music's evolved so much over the centuries, from really primitive instruments like through to string quartets, orchestras. Now you're getting the digital, but I think you still need that human input to emote.
Music's essentially an emotional thing. Come and get involved in this. Will robots ever be better at music than human beings? Or do we need that emotional element? That's what we're talking about at the moment. Do you need an emotional connection, even if a band isn't that good? There are at least people.
I mean, there's two bits to it, aren't there?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the creation of the music in the first place, or the playing of the music? Because the creation, I think, as I say, you know, I can understand
the composition in a way.
The composition, I can understand that that's going to be easier for a robot to come up with something that's pleasing to the ear.
Yeah.
But I think the actual playing, as we said, the playing is much more emotional, more human, isn't it?
Right. Okay. So maybe the robots can do the composition. Maybe a robot could learn from Mozart and be better than Mozart. Will robots ever be better at music than human beings? No. Come and tell us why. Come on. We got. It's Richard and was it? Dan. Sorry, Dan, Emma.
Dave.
Oh, it's Dave. I thought you said it was Roland.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the speakers, right? Okay. Okay. So I'm not doing well here then. Dan, Emma, Dave, Paul, Rowan.
I'm Lucy and I'm supposed to be working.
Oh, you could consider this a form of work because we certainly do. So we're talking. You don't think that robots will ever get better at music than human beings?
No, it's a more of an emotive thing, and you need that emotive.
Yeah, the emotional connection.
Yeah.
What is the emotional connection? Why can't robots do it?
They've got no feelings.
Yeah.
Robots. Haven't got no human or any sort of instinct, feelings.
Give us a final thought before you go.
I don't know.
As I say, my final thought is perhaps they can create the music, playing the music, that's going to be harder, I think.
Okay, so Dan is saying basically they'll be great at composition, but they can't play that well. So you can set down if you've got a point to make. Do you think robots will ever be better?
No.
No? What?
I'm a violinist, so it's hard to
you don't think
to
a
say
robot
yes
could
to this question.
would ever kind of learn what you do and then just be better than you?
Sure, but there is a huge element of emotion within technique as well.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, especially for classical music. Well, good jazz as well, and new funk. I think it's very important that people are communicating with their audience in that moment.
Yeah.
And if it's a robot, they're not really there.
So
there's no actual...
What's that?
So there's no communication or feeling between the two.
So
a robot is a machine. It's not a person. It hasn't got human instincts like a human person.
I feel this argument can be extended because I see the robot as being, be it AI or be it a physical machine actually doing the playing. They're just tools in the same way that arguably the instrument itself is a tool. I mean, you are not making music with your body. You're using a tool that someone has created out of natural materials in the same way that a robot is just a tool made out of natural materials. It's vastly more complex, but I don't really see a logic in.
Do you think in like the 18th century people were saying, "Oh, these violins"?
Well,
they're
I mean,
just
think about the controversy about Dylan going electric, say, or something like that, which sounds absolutely trivial now, but at the time was like, he's going electric. He's not making real music anymore. It's a similar. It's admittedly a different argument, but it's a similar but different argument.
Okay, Lucy, have you got a view on that? Because I feel like I'm got my back to you. Do you know anything about Bob Dylan going electric? No. Do you know about that controversy? When was that controversy?
It was before I was born, so I don't know.
So back in, Dave, do you know anything about the controversy of Dylan going electric?
Not really, no, not my scene.
Okay, so no one, you're the only person who knows about that, so maybe that's a little bit of a conversational...
It's just regardless, just take it as like a general concept that at some point there was not really much electronic music, then one day people started amplifying instruments and were a bit against it, and then that became...
the norm.
And then sort of...
Is there like a sort of like more recent controversy that
I guess like we were talking about, like synthesized music as opposed to... So where the sounds are made by machines, but people are still playing and pushing the keys and whatever else.
Yeah. Got a controversy for you.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
Maybe starting in about an hour.
Yeah.
I'll play first my violin.
Yeah.
Which is 1772.
Yeah.
Then a graphite violin.
Yeah.
And then a violin made out of silk. And then a violin made out of spider silk.
Right. Okay.
So I think.
So you're going to be playing 4 different violins?
Yes, over and over and over.
Have you got a favourite?
For the next 3 days here. Have I got a favourite? I think the regular silk is my favorite because it's a really deep sound.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound synthesized at all. Really, it sounds very really like biomechanics, just kind of.
Standard violin, you get that mellow sound. I mean, if you use electric violin, I've heard them, and they're too mechanical.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to have that feeling in the music or the notes that's being played on it. Whereas for the traditional, like a wooden violin, I don't know what the carbon violins are like, or...
I don't have a carbon one today, but the graphite is quite similar.
Yeah.
And the silk it's definitely workable. And it definitely changes, obviously much slower over time. So if you were to adjust the wood violin, it would change, you drop it and it's gone. The bridge moves and, you have to, but
take
with
it into
this,
the shop.
Yes, but with this kind of violin, it's a different mentality, really. Everything takes, everything takes longer, even just tuning.
Right.
I think it's really important for people to be open. At the same time, acknowledging the history of such a thing. I mean, you know, it's possible though. It's possible from all kinds of fibers to create these instruments. I think his next project, this inventor is for winds. Create for you know, imagine a clarinet made out of spider silk. I mean, what kind of sound can that?
Okay,
it's
sounds amazing,
not electric.
Yeah.
But it is using biomaterials, seeing okay, what can we do without cutting down the trees? And I mean, obviously, it's quite.
And this 18th, is this your violin? This 18th century violin?
Yes.
And is it an expensive instrument?
Yes.
And what's so great about it? It sounds a bit old to me.
What's great about it?
Yeah.
There is a huge range of colors. Well, we can start there.
Yeah.
I mean, the projection, I mean, it's just like honey to play in comparison to something. Yeah.
I mean, I play guitar. You get a standard guitar, acoustic guitar, and you get electric. You cannot get an electric guitar that sounds like acoustic guitar. There's only one make that does that with an internal pickup inside the guitar. But electric guitar is a totally different sound to acoustic.
I mean, the acoustic guitars, have they got more of a kind of, what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, because you've got the sort of mellow sound from the wood or from the cavity.
Yeah.
Whereas electric guitar is purely a pickup. In other words, you could use a block of wood, 2 pickups on it and strings.
A bit of
get
MDF.
the same sound.
Yeah. Okay. So what is special about this very, very old violin? Can it? I mean, how come there's this? Is it a Stradivarius violin?
No, but it's maybe
like
quite close in quality.
It's
called Niccolo Goliano.
Yeah.
It's from 1772.
Yeah.
I think, well.
What's so great about these violins?
300,000.
What's worth more than my Talkaoke table?
How can you know? I mean, what's so great about such violins? It's like it will never happen again. It's the wood.
Yeah.
It's the wood.
Yeah.
It's the shape, the cavity of the sound.
Yeah.
Which comes from it. And
the instrument is fantastic, but in addition to what you're saying, a lot of it is the setup.
What do you mean the setup?
The setup is literally the spacing between the soundpost and the bridge and the bass bar, and that's physics. That's not.
Right.
Do you still use catgut on a violin? Yes.
Hang on a sec. Let me just. We've got on the catgut.
You mean gut strings?
Gut. Do you?
Not catgut, but pig gut.
Pig guts, not catgut. Do they used to use
I don't
cats?
Oh my god, this is terrifying. Really?
Yeah. Okay.
I have to try it now.
Okay. All right. Well, just keep my cat indoors when you're anywhere near. Okay. So.
Anyway, thank you.
All right. Give us a final thought, Dave.
Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Yeah. Okay.
All the best. Bye.
All the best.
Okay. All right. Well, if you see something interesting, come back and tell us about it. We're here all week.
Well, I'm really interested to hear sort of the difference in these. So I ran an event not too long ago about 3D printing musical instruments, and someone had a 3D printed violin there. So it's just made out of like powdered nylon. It did still sound amazing. You could tell it wasn't wooden. It wasn't better or worse, as it's just a subjective quality, but it was definitely different. And I can imagine it, in certain circumstances, sounding better for certain pieces of music, but less good for others. So I think they tried, like, he played like a classical piece. Well, not really computerized. It just sounded less. I don't really have the articulation. I'm not really a musician to sort of say it, but it just didn't sound like a classical violin would. He played a classical piece, a folk piece, and like a contemporary piece. And the contemporary piece sounded more like better on the nylon instrument to the wooden instrument, but the classical piece sounded better on the wooden instrument to the nylon instrument, which kind of makes intuitive sense to me.
Is that just something that people say? I mean, how can you judge what's
psychological? Well, maybe you're just convincing yourself.
Let's go back to this silk one. Actually, we should get some names. My name's Mikey. What's your name?
Sheer.
Sheer.
Sheer Levy.
Can we just say Sheer?
Yeah, we can say Sheer.
I'm Mikey. This is Rowan.
Rowan.
So I want to go back to this silk. How is the silk violin actually made?
I can't answer that for you, but in half an hour, I think the maker of this violin will come and definitely answer your questions.
Okay.
I don't want to say something that is not.
Well,
but all I know is
lots
that
of
the
other people
silk-
do on this table of chat. Don't worry, we don't have to be accurate here. You can just make it up.
Well, in short, it's a combination of carbon fiber and silk, and then there is for the spider silk, it's actually running along the center of the violin 3 strands of spider silk, and it's quite much brighter sound than just silk. Just silk kind of sounds more like a viola, very deep, very kind of hollow. I'll show you later. But
Okay, well, looking forward to that. That's for sure.
I'll bring him to meet you.
Yes, bring him along. Bring him along. We've got I'm just gonna sort out. How's everything going over there? Going good. We're doing something a bit different today as well. We're kind of analysing the chat, but we don't know what. Well, I say we are. I'm not doing it. We've got some people over here. It'll be interesting to see what kind of insights they give us to the conversation. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. At the moment we're talking about, making musical instruments out of different stuff, the different sounds that gives. Maybe we could go back to this kind of thing about what is music really about? In a way, it's a kind of human-to-human interaction, a sort of abstract human-to-human connection, and I guess the main reason why robots can't do it, it's been suggested, is just simply because they're not human. So it's just not that same connection. So it might be exactly the same music, but it's a
Again, I think the mistake is assuming they're the agent, and just if you abstract them and look at them as the tool or the instrument, it makes like computer music suddenly makes a lot more sense and fits in with the rest of music as a whole.
Yeah.
Because
I think it's definitely a valid art form. I'm not denying that. I mean, you can compare it to a DJ that sits on the stage with their laptop, and it's just like typing away and bam. I mean, are
they actually doing anything? I don't know. To me,
some of them are. I can see why you feel that way. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's the same comparison. You can take a robot and the robot's your laptop, and it's making sound, and that's valid. And somebody's telling the robot to do So it's a kind of not even secondary. It's like there's so many steps until the music actually occurs.
I mean, I went to the Sonar Festival in Barcelona, and there's this massive hall of people, and there's a DJ on stage, and it's an old technology in itself, but it's just playing records. And you just think, why is this guy on stage as a performer, and he's just actually just putting the records on and playing recorded music? To me, that didn't make sense.
Yeah, but I think that's because of a commercial side of things as opposed to an artistic side of things. I think it partly becomes from this obfuscation that people don't realise that a lot of DJs are doing stuff, a lot aren't. I have personal experience with this when I used to pretend to DJ because I got paid for just standing there and pretending, just basically playing solitaire on my laptop and just playing music
playing
in
a
the background.
playlist.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're actually cheating?
And a lot of the time I'd just download pre-existing mixes off the internet, play them, which sounded good because they were done properly in a studio, and I'd just be messing about on the laptop and get 50 quid for the night.
What a scam!
Yeah, I know, it was great. I had to go through years at uni.
Okay, but maybe you were performing a role of being the person that we could focus on.
People want there to be, I think it's a bit of an illusion. I think people want there to be somebody responsible. I think people aren't quite ready to accept robots or AI or machines or whatever doing the music independently of people, because I think that's effectively what's going on. We're using software that is quite sophisticated. There is some artistry going on, but ostensibly
there's an underlying fear there. Absolutely. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Is it a fear, or is it just more the other way around, that we want to project something positive onto a person?
That's also possible. But I'm saying there's a fear of the communication getting lost.
Right, I see.
It's definitely possible for that not to happen, but naturally, if you put something in the hands of a machine, you feel, the machine has more control than you all of a sudden.
Okay.
But
so
it's
you feel
fine.
a little bit inadequate in a way. Oh, Rick, this is Rick, our cameraman.
I was just going to argue that you've kind of already done the research and got the music and stuff like that. So although you're not actually DJing live, to say, in a sense, you've actually have done the research and also DJs do they kind of when they kind of think how the crowd are going to react in certain situations. So you go, okay, now we're going to put this tune on to get the crowd going a bit here, or chill it out a little bit. So although they're not actually mixing the records,
there is a
anymore,
level of
kind
artistry.
Okay. If they're good anyway.
Well, not for Aaron, because he just preloaded
No, but
it.
he did the research, you know. And he thought, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah. Okay, digital Del Boy. Maybe. I mean, are there anyone? Is there anyone here being the digital Del Boy, blagging some kind of, blinding us by science here?
In a way, you're a DJ of chat, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess I am. But I would say there's an art to the blag itself.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Getting at the whole art of the DJing, like.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make this the record of rhetoric?
Possibly. But right now, I think I've got a little bit of a cracked record. I'm stuck in a groove. So where are we going to go? How are we going to... Okay, well, give us the final thoughts here.
I think it's important to, to consider what robots actually can do and why and what's the intention. Obviously, it will happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how many decades where it's a little more available, maybe from Japan or somewhere.
I mean, do you think
but it's important to consider these things, absolutely.
Someone earlier on said there'd be rules about where robots can go. Do you think there will be like no robot spaces?
No smoking,
no smoking, no robots, exactly.
Amazing. I'll be back.
All right, thanks very much. Thanks for the very interesting thing. And bring the violin and the maker later on. Thank you.
Yeah,
no robots.
That raises questions. I'm sure this whole film was dedicated to the idea of there being robot segregation, and one day a robot tweaks and.
Have you not seen Surrogates with Bruce Willis?
Never heard of it.
You've not seen Surrogates?
No.
Oh.
Could have been a very good film, but
Like
it focused
films.
on the wrong. For me anyway, it focused on the wrong.
I mean, we've got actually talking about sci-fi just around the corner. They should have been a bit close. They should have been a bit closer to us. We've got Sci-Fi London hanging around, so maybe we'll get them involved in this discussion and find out a little bit about how sci-fi has dealt with this problem. Hello, come and take a seat on the table of chat. Come on, we have got Rowan, we've got Rick, I'm Mikey. What's your name? That didn't work, did it? We need to warm this up. We need to get some controversial subjects going on.
Robot rights is ostensibly what we're sort of edging towards, and that is quite a controversial topic.
Yeah.
Maybe not right now, but it has been talked about.
Robot rights.
Yeah.
If robots are going to do all the work for us, should they have rights as well?
Yeah. Should they have time off? Should they have? I don't know. It's tough. Self-determination. What if a robot just he's made to like paint walls in a factory or something, but decides actually he'd rather do portraits? Like what?
Yeah.
I feel bad enough throwing away my old computer. I mean, what would I do when it's an actual proper?
You won't.
robot?
Yeah. I mean, will you actually be able to dispose of these things? Will it be like in?
When your Mark 1 robot is just like completely obsolete and you want to get the Mark 2, 3, whatever's next.
Because the Apple or its equivalent. Hello, come and take a seat. This is Talkaoke. We're talking about robot rights. Should robots have rights? I think that's a no. I take that as a no. Apple or whoever, the big tech companies are going to want us to replace and upgrade our robots, but we're going to feel emotionally attached to them. So, how are you going to square that one?
I guess, I mean, one thing that I think people forget is that a robot is just the physical manifestation of a digital thing. So the digital thing might remain once you've discarded the physical thing. So like when you upgrade your phone, you've still got the same emails and
if you get that right, if you get it right,
if you get it right, and you sync it up, But the actual robot you might ditch, but you might still have its.
Do robots have rights? That's what we're talking about. And what about when you come to upgrade your robot? How are you going to feel? Come and sit down. Come and get involved in this. We have got Rowan, we've got Shia, we've got Rick, I'm Mikey. Come and have a seat. Don't worry, it's all electrically safe. It's all been tested and everything. What's your name? Come back later on. When you've seen something interesting, come and get involved in this. Okay, come on then. What's the question? What is the question?
The question is,
we
want our grandson to get in to do a degree in, computer science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we go about it?
Why do you want your grandson to get a degree in
He wants to. He wants to.
It's
yeah.
not you projecting onto.
No.
My parents wanted me to be a doctor.
No.
And I was like, no, I'm going to be an artist.
No, I think what it is, it's he's very good in maths.
Yeah.
His choice would be between some mathematics. He's taking maths, further maths and physics for A levels.
Yeah.
And I would say his interest between maths and computer science and robotics.
Yeah.
Do you do robotics at Queen's
I
Mary?
don't do robotics. Yeah.
I was going to say, so I have I did my degree in cybernetics and computer science, and I had exactly the same A levels as your son, your grandson. Sorry. Yeah.
Older guy. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I can perhaps offer some suggestion, which is somewhere like Queen Mary's or Reading have both got very good departments. And,
okay.
What it is, we actually filled in a form to go to the open day. I think it was last week or a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to Queen's Mary.
Queen Mary, I think it might have even been yesterday.
No. I think just over a week ago, and I couldn't make it because I was traveling.
Yeah.
So I really regret I didn't go, but I really want him to have a very good idea about the course instead of just applying,
Okay. We've got some people from Queen Mary here. Anyone from Queen Mary? Come and have a seat on the table of chat. So anyway, let's get some names. We've got Rick, we've got Shia, we've got Rome. What's your name?
Patricia.
Patricia.
Al.
And?
Joanna.
Joanna, welcome. I'm Mikey. At the moment, we've got two subjects on the table. We've got the computer science thing. We were talking about robots. Maybe they're connected in a way. I mean, we're talking about this future where we're all going to have our own robots. But will those robots have rights? And is that a computer science question? Or is that for someone else to answer? That's what we're talking about at the moment. Any views on this, Joanna?
I like robots.
Yeah. Do you think robots should have rights? Should just be able to throw them in the bin when they're...
I think you'd have to define robot.
Okay. Yeah.
So my niece has a robot, one of those little Sony Aibo robots.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like the thing on the poster with the orange ears down there.
Yeah.
With the orange head. It's a bit like that. And when my nephew tries to hit the robot or beat it up, my niece sort of like protects it and stops him from attacking it.
Right.
She's already kind of projected onto it.
Yeah.
And so to her, that robot already has rights, and she's already trying to protect it.
Right.
So instinctively, I wonder if even if there is no philosophical reason to give robots rights, I wonder if we'll do it anyway. I wonder if we'll just give robots rights because we feel a connection. Like we give rights to property, but property is just a thing.
Do we give rights to property?
Well, yeah, if you trespass against somebody's property, you're kind of you're arrested for breaking a window. A window's an immaterial thing. I mean, a material thing. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah.
So robots will have rights like
robots. You mean attempted to assault a robot is a criminal?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think actually a robot in the immediate future is very much more for practical purposes than the other stuff.
Yeah.
I think for the next probably 50 years or so would be application of robotics in daily life and probably space missions.
What about cars? We were talking earlier on about self-driving cars.
I think it's just a simple, straightforward improvement in science and technology. It will bring in an increasing use of robotics. Just a byproduct.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a byproduct of improvement in technology. I think this would probably will have application in difficult situations like in military and emergency services and space missions.
What about musicians? Because we've got Shia over here as a musician. Is her job at risk from being...
Well, I think they'll be out of place, these musicians, because I think there's better composers.
Yeah.
Because I believe that composing, like playing chess, is better done by a machine than by a human.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's been said actually already.
Yeah, so
they might be out of a job.
Abstract thinking is delayed in a human evolution. Yeah. And therefore, this is why people are not as good as a machine in chess.
Yeah.
And the same, not as good as composing.
Okay, so actually, I mean, it's been said around the table before, are robots better at computers better at composing? Okay, thank you. Joanna, have you got a view on this? Would you rather have I mean, do you care about whether your music's composed by a human being or a computer?
No, but I have one of those vacuum cleaner robots. And
Really?
I have to, yes, and I mean, it's not perfect, but it's amazing.
Has it got a name?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Pekka. It's called Pekka.
Pekka.
Pekka. Yep.
Yeah.
And I liked your point around your niece liking the robot, but I have to say I have a 4-year-old daughter and she has a bunny, which is not a robot, and she does exactly the same thing. But having said that, we also got one of those mini bug things that lives in a little thing and moves around. It's so real. It feels like a pet, even to me. So
Wow.
I don't know. It's interesting psychologically.
Okay, so psychologically you can have the same relationship with a robot as with a pet. Rick, anything on this side? No? Yeah.
I do like the idea of robot pets, actually. Like a small part of me is kind of against the very concept of owning pets, and so I like the idea of having synthetic
Why are you
pets
against the
instead.
concept of owning pets?
It's a form of slavery, a very mild one, but a form of slavery. And I just like the idea of having robot pets instead. They don't make mess. They they don't bite. Well, hopefully, don't bite people or anything like that. You know, you can program them to have the behaviours you want, rather than have to live with something that annoys you. They don't smell. They don't shed hair. You know.
I like the unpredictability of having a pet in a way.
I mean, would you rather have a robot cat or a real cat?
Well, I guess I'd rather have a real cat, but it depends. Who knows what the future holds?
Why?
Just because they're saying the unpredictability of it. It's like you can't control. That's almost in a way.
Okay.
I don't want to control my cat.
Yeah. So you would? Have you got a cat?
Not now, but I used to.
Yeah. Would you think it could be replaced by a robot?
No, just different.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a replacement. I mean, you can't replace something that gives love. It's.
Okay. You've obviously got a very unusual cat. My cat doesn't really do love. Anyway, yeah.
I was going to say, but if you want unpredictability, you just get someone else to program your cat. So that you program in some behaviour so that when you're watching your favourite TV shows, when it decides it's going to try and claw your face off or something.
Okay.
There is something, though, around kind of kids learning how you have to treat animals with respect. That if it was a robot and you'd be kicking it around, nobody would probably react to that at the moment.
Okay, so it's how we wouldn't necessarily react in the right way to a robot pet. Could you program a robot cat to stand on your laptop? That's what my cat always does. If we get the laptop out, she stands on it, stands on the keys. Would we have the same, you know, we might just like kick it away if it's a robot, yeah.
What about robot children? Could they be better behaved?
Yeah, robot children, okay. Maybe it could be like a practice child, couldn't it? So that could work. Robot kids. Anyone here have a robot? Would you have a robot child? Joanna, give us a final thought. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Robot kids. No, thank you.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I did read something interesting the other day about how you know, in certain like sex education classes, they get kids to young people to take care of like a fake child, a fake baby, like a slightly robotic baby. It's programmed to weird stuff and stuff. Apparently, that correlates more with teenage pregnancy than by people who just never had that class.
So they're more likely to get.
Yeah. So the little thing that is designed to put people off having kids makes them want kids.
We're talking about robotic stuff and stuff like that. This is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show. Okay, welcome to the Geek Party. There's been a few subjects on the table so far. We've been talking. Come and get involved. Come on, you can bring your coffee. This is drink proof. Anyway, so we got Rick, we got Rowan. What's your name?
Vin.
Vin. My name's Mikey. At the moment, we're sort of talking about robot stuff and whether robots will have rights in the future. What about a robot pet? And Rick over here suggested maybe you can have robot kids. Sounds like it's coming up to a punchline, but we don't have the punchline yet.
Is that possible? So can we have robot pets in the future? And Is that
I think they already exist. So someone here has got like some kind of rope. Their daughter has got a. They're gone now. I'm not imagining them. Their daughter has got some kind of robot bug pet. That's not a real bug, but a robot. So that it's already happening under our noses.
When I was younger, we had the Gamagotchi or the Kamagotchi that was from Japan. They were really big. Yeah. And I know that was probably the first starting of kind of like little robot pets. Yeah. But I know it's evolved considerably since then. So.
I mean, will those pets then have rights? Is the question. Like, because like obviously, you can't just. I was talking about my cat that stands on my laptop. I've got to gently remove her. I can't just like kick her off of the laptop. But will those robot pets be the same? Will they have rights? That's what we're talking about, really. Or will robots in general have rights? And what is the giving of rights to these machines? What is our relationship, our emotional relationship, really?
According to Stephen Hawking, we're going to be taken over by robots at some point in the future. They're just going to like ruin humanity. That's according to him. So I think
will it be a ruining of humanity?
I don't know. This is what he feels. That I think in the future they could evolve to a certain extent where you've got AI with emotions and they do require rights, and there's a kind of complete separate race of people, which sounds very science fiction. Is it true? Could it happen? I don't know. I'm here to question it.
Okay.
I was wondering whether actually humans themselves will become more robotic where at first I'm thinking like plastic surgery has become like started off being something that was used to like fix wounds and scar and stuff like that. Whether they'll replace like if you have a limb blown off, will you have like a robot arm put on? And then people will think, oh well, why don't I just have like better legs to make me run faster?
So
and stuff
people
like that.
will be enhancing their bodies.
I wonder whether that will be a future.
It's a good point, because like I keep feeling people talk about this false dichotomy of there being robots and humans, but I see there being more of a synthesis, and I don't think there'll be much of a distinction. I think the rights won't be around AI, the rights will be around us still and what we can and cannot do to ourselves. I mean,
do you think certain adaptations will be made illegal?
Well, possibly. I mean, like, case in point, look at like the Paralympics or something like that. Oscar Pistorius wanted to compete in the regular Olympics, and that was quite a big issue because he was an augmented human. I know it wasn't technically a robotic issue, but it almost is. He was using a piece of technology to better himself in his performance, and was allowed, like, denied and allowed certain things because of it. So it's kind of already happening. It's just in its early days.
We're talking about the robot future. Will robots have rights in the future? Will there be laws to? We just started off. It's just early days. We've got Rick, we've got Rowan, we've got Vin. What's your name?
Charles.
And
Linda.
I'm Mikey. So I guess will there be laws about what you can? Will you be able to have like 4 arms or something like that? Will there be laws about robotic adaptations?
You've got an answer before you begin the question, and that is that we are the robots.
We are the robots.
We will take the technology and put it inside ourselves. So just as we've taken technology from our environments, in the 1880s, if you wanted to have a bath, you had to go down to a bathhouse.
Yeah.
And now we've all got baths in our house.
Yeah.
When I started playing with computers, they were mainframes and were the size of this building.
Right.
And now we have them in our pockets. So it's the same with all this computer technology. It will eventually become part of us.
Right.
So you then say, what rights do computers and machines and robots have? Well, what rights do we have? They will be part of us.
Okay.
We'll have micro-robotics in our bloodstreams removing the cholesterol.
Right.
We'll have components in our brains helping us process information.
Yeah.
And
isn't that like a little bit of a cheat, though? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. But then we go beyond that.
Yeah.
And we go step beyond computer technology, the current version of it. And in 5 generations, the computer technology will probably be organic.
Okay. So it won't even be kind of hard. It will be just soft, organic stuff that we just add to our body, augment to our bodies. How do you feel about that, Linda? Have you got any views on that?
Yeah, that's really scary. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think it's hard enough to answer the question of if robots as entities that aren't human should have rights, let alone if humans turn into part robots.
Is there anything that you'd like to augment that you would, if you could get the technology to do it?
About myself?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to go around the table on this one, actually, and maybe ask this man here. Would you adapt yourself if there was a robotic technology? Is there anything about yourself you would change? No? You're perfect as you are. Come and join the conversation anyway, but I'm going to get around the table on this one. Vin,
I think, you know what, for me, it's like watching these Marvel films, and you've got the likes of Iron Man and kind of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
So if you've got the money, I think there are guys like Elon Musk out there who are probably developing this kind of technology already, and probably quite ahead forward. And I think it's going to be about money. I think if you've got the money to do things like this, you can probably kick-start that from now onwards.
What would you do? How would you enhance yourself?
I'd probably get taller.
Taller, okay.
Yeah, I've always been told I was a little bit taller, less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could do a swap.
You could do like
robotically,
a leg exchange or something like that.
Don't you think there's a moral obligation to not start augmenting ourselves and not start corroding ourselves, and that the government should stop that?
Okay. Should there be laws about self-augmentation? That's what we're talking about here. Should Vin be allowed to be a foot taller? I think he should. I don't see what the problem is, but Linda's saying no. There should be a law against that.
Wait, Linda, you've effectively just said these two men should throw away their glasses, and that guy over there should throw away his hearing aid, and that lady over there should get rid of her her heart, whatever.
Pacemaker.
Yeah, pacemaker. You know, we've been augmenting ourselves for centuries. It's just the difference between a digital augmentation and a like mechanical or physical one.
But I mean, what about if I mean, I think what you're saying is that's kind of minor and mild compared to.
I reckon the line is when you start augmenting your brain function. For me, that's the line.
But we already are.
Are we?
How good is your memory since you've owned a smartphone? My memory's got so much worse since I've owned a smartphone.
So
we are augmenting our minds already.
Okay, so we're augmenting ourselves through technology. Come and get involved in this. Should there be a limit to this? What's that, Ben?
So the conclusion my friend over here had about the fact that we're already robots as it is. We've got, say, for example, eye laser surgery. I've already enhanced my eyesight with laser surgery.
Yeah.
You know, we do have hearing aids which are implanted.
Yeah.
We have kind of wireless technology which kind of works without anything connected to it. So I think
we have smartphones that help us win arguments in pub quizzes.
There you go. We have dating apps that help us in relationships.
Yeah.
But you can always put the phone down. And you can always say no to the eye surgery. If we start putting things in our heads and start augmenting our brains, A, what would we change? B, will it be based on money? C, do you just start shoving things in kids' brains before they get a chance to say yes or no? It's so different. We can get rid of these, and we couldn't get rid of stuff if we started altering our minds.
Yeah, okay. All right, okay.
It's all little steps. Lots and lots and lots and lots of little steps. So by the time that we've done some of the stuff we're discussing here today, it could be 1,000 years' time.
Yeah.
And by that stage, not only will we understand how the brain works, but we'll know how to enhance it. We'll know how to add 42 extra bases to human DNA or do whatever we need to do.
Wow. Okay.
And to take human processing ability so that we know the internet. We don't read it, we know it. And we have processing gates and things like that in our brains that say that's not relevant, that's not relevant, that's relevant.
Right, okay.
You know, I happen to be interested in physics or something like that, and so I pick up on the physics things that are whizzing past through the air. But actually, it's rather like looking at the internet. You look at what you're interested in, but try to avoid the red herrings. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I'm just trying to absorb what you're saying there. It's quite a mind-blowing series of statements. But step by step, we're actually getting there. We're on the way, and we're not really, we just accept the enhancements and augmentations, be they technological or knowledge-based, that have already happened, and then they just grow and grow, and we just accept them one at a time. They don't all come all of a sudden. It will be normal just to do brain surgery on your child to help them pass their GCSEs, which will be a lot tougher probably then.
I think exciting area I've seen recently is nanotechnology. So using nanotechnology for kind of treatment, medical treatment. So kind of implanting, in effect, you're implanting little robots into your body to go straight through the source of where the disease is kind of starting from and kind of eliminating it. And that to me is kind of enhancing, literally medical science really. So in that sense, it's ethically right, I suppose, in some levels. It's just a very alternative way of doing it.
Yeah, okay. So it's not necessarily about the ethics, it's about the sort of squeamishness of it. The ethics are on the side of the technology. Rick, any views on this side? Come and join in for a second. Don't worry, it sounds like a highbrow debate, but this is just a chit-chat about, it's not news night, it's just a chit-chat about the future of science, the future, technological enhancements of the body and the mind. Will it just be seen as commonplace? Will there be laws against certain augmentations? Was it Peter? Sorry?
Charles.
Charles, that's right. Charles, I'm not doing very well today. I need augmentation. Charles was saying that it would just be normal that our mind will be just totally connected to all knowledge that's out there. We'll just have a direct knowledge piped into our heads, and that will just seem normal. So all these ethical questions will be a moot point, really. Yeah.
Well, I just want to add that if we were living 100 years ago and got transported to now, it would all look magic, all of it.
Yeah. What would be the most shocking thing for somebody from 1916?
Gosh, well, I'm not that old, but you can talk to somebody in the States.
Yeah.
In fact, you can have a conversation and see what they look like, and they can see you.
Yeah. So you think that would be totally mind-blowing?
Completely magic.
Okay. Okay. So in 100 years' time, the future will be just as mind-blowing. Yes. Charles?
I remember a story about my great-great-grandfather who had one of the first radios and was terrified of the twiddling, what they used to call a cat's whisker, to tune it.
Yeah.
And they had a telephone installed, and when it rang, he used to hide because he thought it was the devil.
Really?
So technology changes.
Okay.
Our children get used to it, and they say, come on, Dad, come on, Mum, get real. You are 50 years out of date.
Yeah.
But their children and their grandchildren will be saying the same to them. And if we jump forward 5 generations...
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's all right, that's all right.
Okay, I mean, I'm sort of wondering, because you sound like you knew about things like mainframe computers, so you actually know how computers work. But whereas the kids of today, do they actually know how computers work?
Well,
They don't need to. Okay.
I agree and disagree. I don't know if future generations will be so bamboozled by technology as previous generations
We're talking about
were,
you. Come and get
because
involved.
I think, whereas we've been fortunate enough that we can extrapolate forward a lot, but also nothing surprises us, and we've had so much science fiction that has sort of boosted our imaginations that we could almost have some godlike creature come down to us and tell us he's a very advanced alien, and it would be amazing, but it wouldn't actually blow my mind. I could understand it after a while and even learn to relate to that technology. It's inconceivable that anything would actually really blow our minds.
Is that just because you haven't thought of it, though?
Well, possibly, but I mean, what I'm getting at is literal godlike powers would not befuzzle us.
Okay. So you think we've had so much technology now that same shock that somebody from 100 years ago would have today wouldn't possibly be able to happen? If you went 100 years in the future, would you be shocked, or would it just be like, oh yeah, there's the hover cars, there's the yeah, of course we've got the plug-in mind internet thing going on, nanotechnology, of course we've got it. Yeah, whatever. I'm not shocked. What do you think? You came up with the idea of the 100 years.
Right. Okay, so that's an optimistic view. I get a bit worried about some countries who think that that science and logic and, in fact, everything surrounding them is evil.
Right.
Because it's in contradiction to religious truth.
Right.
And if you have to choose, and they think they have to choose, then they'll go for the religion, and they'll stop us, kind of thing.
Is science and scientific technology in contradiction with religion?
Well, the understanding of it is, yes. Because for example, scientific logic means there's absolutely no way that the world is a few thousand years old. Absolutely no way.
Right, I see where you're coming from.
So it's if you have to choose, then... So I worry a bit about the repressive forces.
Okay.
The washing machine, very important, big step.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize it because we're guys. We didn't have to do the washing.
Yeah.
But that was a major step in emancipating women, but curiously it was the technology that came first, and the social changes came afterwards, and then the religious body of knowledge type of followed it slowly after that.
So you're saying actually the religious kind of understanding about the role of women actually changed because of the washing machine?
I think so. I think it'll change again, and the role of, we've been talking about Paralympics recently, the role of disabled people, the role of women, the role of children.
Okay. Okay, so in a way, all of those things kind of catch up. But what were you going to say, Min?
I think, talking of religion, I think religion seems to be something that really conflicts many people. It's cause of kind of lots of the negative things that are happening in the world right now. So I think in terms of technology, what I would say is technology seems to be something that universally everyone in different countries are collaborating to be able to advance technology. So Russia's working with the US, Russia's working with Europe, and so on, and space exploration, for example. These are probably more peaceful means of collaborating with other countries than religion seems to be at the moment. So in that sense, science seems to be moving things forward more so than religion is.
Okay, well, I mean, will we have religion in 100 years' time?
Science being
what will the relationship of religion and technology be in 100 years' time? That's what we're talking about at the moment. It's an interesting one. Come and join in on the table of the chat. Don't worry. As I said, what's your name, sorry?
I'm John.
As I said to John, this is just a chit-chat. It just happens we're in at the New Scientists Live Festival, and we go to these interesting, deep conversations. Okay, what are you going to... Oh, give us a final thought, Vin.
Final thought. I think this New Scientists Live is great, and it's a real geek party going on in my head. So this is... And I love the concept of a talk show, mobile talk show. Brilliant. Fantastic.
Okay, well, we're here all week, so, come.
And who are you?
My name's Mikey. I guess I'm one of the hosts of the Talkaoke.
Well, thank you, Mikey. I will be back, but it's something interesting elsewhere. That's going to be the trouble this time.
There will be a lot of distraction going on.
Too much interesting stuff. But thank you for now.
Okay.
I'm going to run.
All right. Okay.
Talk, but thank you. This is great.
Okay. Final thought.
Final thought. Oh my God, so much pressure. I think no matter 100 years, 1,000 years, religion's always going to exist, and science has to find a way to coexist with religion, which we haven't done yet.
Okay, so it's also up to scientists to find a way to coexist with religion. Come and get involved in this. We're running all day. We have got Rome, we've got Charles. Come on, Bettel, come and have a seat on the table of chat. Come and get involved in this. What's your name?
Peggy.
Peggy, and we've got Bettel here. So this is a free-form talk show. We can take it in any direction we want to take it. Do we want to carry on with this religion subject?
I think it's a very interesting point of conversation. Something got me thinking when you said, like, what Lydia, I think, or Linda was saying just before she left about religions in 100 years' time. I wonder if they'll be sort of compatible with current technology but not with future technology. Is it always out of step?
Will there be a lag?
Yeah. Because I've often wondered if, like, our current sort of, like, economic theories are almost like a religion, or obsession with football teams and things. Will those become?
Well, I mean, we could
like
sort of group this into, I guess, what we could loosely call culture. Is there a kind of cultural lag where our culture fits with a technology, a past technology, and the culture, be it the religion, the laws, the economics, haven't caught up with it, or can never keep pace with the technological developments? Is that too big a question? Shall I go back to the robots thing?
Cultural centres use a lot of new technology, and if you think how theatre and opera and film is transformed now by the use of technology, so cultural centres and organisations, people who work in culture, are not at all lagging behind. But I think sections of the community are really with the technology, and some are afraid of it still. But cultural centres definitely use technology and want to be working now and in the future.
So is there an uneven distribution then of this new technology or the new ideas? Or is it we are actually on top of it? We are, as a society, on top of technological development? You say no?
No. I've got a watch on my wrist. It's pretty much the same watch that someone 6 generations would have used, apart from the fact that it's got a battery in it.
Right.
So it's fits and starts.
Okay.
Some things stay the same for many generations and others change rapidly.
Why are you wearing the watch?
Because I can't stand looking at the time on my iPhone.
Right, I see. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
The disparity exists around the world as well. I mean, the poorest cultures in the world are still using, clay pots and spears and things.
Yeah, well,
when
I
some people are on
pot.
the International Space Station, the disparity is enormous.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest it's ever been.
I've got one of those Moroccan tagine things.
Yeah, but you also have like a smartphone and this table.
Okay. Don't people in those countries have smartphones too?
I mean, there's, like I said, there's a wide disparity. A lot of people do, but there are definitely some people that don't.
So it's back to this uneven distribution of technology.
The interesting thing is in Africa, they are huge consumers of mobile phones because they don't have the
landline
infrastructure, so they've had to jump forward. So you could argue that even in areas of great deprivation, technology will be taken on as fast as people are able to have it. And very simple things like, with a wind-up radio and that, has really helped, and the way they dig wells and so on. So you shouldn't assume just because they're the poorest country that actually they wouldn't wish to be part of that story. And it's up to us to give them the story and help them do much better. But definitely mobile phones are very popular in Africa because there's no infrastructure.
I mean, there is a question about money and, be it like technological enhancements or whatever. Do we actually, and the distribution, are we, is that what's actually creating these disparities? Is it actually about disparity of wealth, and how will that play out with technology? Or is it actually, well, that's,
I don't think it's wealth, I think it's population. The greater the world's population, the more inventive we are. So if we get to a peak in about 50 years' time, 100 years' time, when our population peaks, after that it'll start going down.
Yeah.
So the question is, if it starts going down, will our inventive capacity decrease?
Okay.
And yes, I think it probably will, unless we can get AI to take over the slack.
All right, okay. Okay, well,
I wonder if I kind of agree, but I wonder if it's also will we specialise more, and so productivity might not go down; it might just change what its guise. So at the moment, we've got, taking the UK as an example, an over-reliance on, say, like the knowledge industries, like the finance industry and things like that. Whereas someone like the US is a lot more interested in basic science and things. And I wonder if maybe we'll just get more interested in scientific subjects in the future. And so even if our population does start to go down after that 50-year or whatever peak, will we be more sciencey and thus, something along those lines. I imagine it's both the manifestations of the same thing, but I'd be curious to know if just, even if our population went down, if the proportion of, say, scientists went up, then would that keep us on a level?
Okay, I mean, is it just scientists that are inventive and imaginative? Do you need science?
I'm using the term science very loosely, but just anything that sort of progresses us technologically and sociologically and so on.
Okay. Beto, have you got a view on this? Do you think our inventiveness will go down when the global population goes down? Will the global population go down, as Charles seems to suggest it will in 50 years' time?
I'm thinking like maybe we are going to redefine what is inventing new technologies and creative stuff.
In what way?
Because we will get used to the current definition, and that will, I think, affect like how we.
Okay, so we will readjust in a way.
Maybe we'll use different terminology to address the same problems, thinking that they're the new things, but actually we'll be talking about.
There'll be a new normal.
New conventional.
Okay. What do other people think? What will the normal be, in a way, is the question in the future? What will be future normal? Yeah, we don't know.
Fundamentally, it can really change all the time, as it does, because we assume things have to be very big and very international, but there could be a future where things become more regional and people use the things nearest to where they are. So if you think of energy and the use of energy, of solar power, or water power, and other ways of looking at things, there are different ways of generating these things for use. And I think imaginative people, whether you want to call them scientists or creatives, are always looking at old solutions and thinking of new ways, or seeing something very new and taking a completely left field way of using that. So I think we should be optimistic about the fact that people are constantly inventive and there's a lot of crossover, and hopefully we can still find solutions.
Okay, come and have a seat on the table of chat. At the moment we're talking about the future normal. Give us a final thought, Charles, before you go.
Great session.
Okay, well, as I said, we're here all week, so come back. We'll probably be talking about something completely, or hopefully be talking about something completely different next time. Maybe it is actually time just to take a little break. I might just push this table a little bit this way, just to take advantage of the sound barrier that we've erected between us and the Brain and Body Theatre. But has people got a final thought? Peggy, have you got a final thought for this session?
Can I just do a little promotion?
Yes,
Because
please.
I'm here representing Solar Team Great Britain.
Right,
and
okay.
we're building a solar car to take part in the World Solar Challenge next year.
Yeah.
So I'm here to talk to people about things that they're doing in new science that we can use and to look for support for our project.
Can I just ask you, just to sort of make a link between what we're doing, could we, because in the summer, we're here in lots of festivals in this table, and we've got these batteries. It's battery powered, this table, so we can work in any field. But could it be solar powered? How big an array would we need?
I'm not a scientist, so I can't answer those questions, but I can certainly put you in touch with somebody who can answer those questions. So I will find you someone who can answer your questions.
Okay, and actually, I shouldn't be so selfish in my questioning. What is this solar challenge, or whatever the solar car thing?
So the solar challenge runs from Darwin in the north of Australia to Adelaide. It's about 3,000 miles long.
Yeah.
They have cars from 50 different countries. It's taken very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And cars come from all around the world, young teams generally of engineers who are exploring sustainability and other means of power, and they have to work out a way of getting all their solar power between 8 in the morning and 5 at night.
Right.
And where they stop, they camp out in the desert, in the cold and the heat and so on. But it's a very useful scientific way of looking at modern development in solar. So I'm very keen about it because I volunteered to help last year, and I was completely captivated by the opportunity it gives young people to do something really scientific and new, and the opportunities for doing science about the future use of solar power.
Sounds amazing.
So that's my little pep talk, please.
Have you got a solar car here?
No, we're in the middle of building one right at this moment. So in October 2017, we'll be on the road from Darwin.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, try and bring your people along and get them to have a seat around the table to chat, explain what they're doing. Betul, what are you doing here?
What I do here?
Yeah.
Walk around.
But what project are you involved in? I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, just to sort of like, make it seem like.
I'm actually doing the observing people how they use language, like who is the speaker, who is the listener, and how they interact with each other. This kind of stuff. Okay,
because we're doing Talkaoke in conjunction with this chat lab here today, where they're actually analysing the chat. They seem to be analysing an old Talkaoke. Well, I'm actually wearing a suit, but anyway, we are somehow the rats in the maze, and we're being actually analysed by these people here that are going to make some judgments and analysis on how the conversation's going.
I'm slightly worried that they're analysing me.
They are analysing you. There you go.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Welcome to the future. Anyway, it's time to get a coffee. If we're going to get analysed, we need to be on full form. Thanks everyone for this session. We will be back shortly.